When speaking about methods of modern education, most people will be surprised at how not modern educational standards are. As technology evolves, education should seek to follow suit. A method that has been introduced to try and reclaim some of the attention of the average student is TPACK. TPACK stands for Technological, Pedagogical, Content, Knowledge. What TPACK expresses is a theory of integration between these aspects that will maximize the effects on students within and outside of a classroom setting. The parts are very self-explanatory. Technological is the technology used. Pedagogical is the ability of an educator to teach a subject. Content is the information being taught and the style that is presented in, while knowledge, the amount of information the educator has regarding the subject at hand. When exploring the virtues of TPACK, the emphasis is not placed on the individual aspect. Instead, it is the educator's aim to find the multiple points where these aspects intersect. The middlemost part of this equation being the sweet spot where the maximum benefit of a style is attained. While different aspects of technology can be adapted in different methods to give the desired effect, it seems digital and video games are the most efficient in blending the different aspects of TPACK. Games are a fitting medium because of the nature of their design and implementation. Every game is already an educational tool. When modified for the maximum benefit of TPACK, is the ultimate educational tool. The first step to designing a game for education is in determining what the lesson content is and should be. The next is in determining the genre of game to be used. Within the game genre is a pre-existing framework for how the game should be developed. While there are various styles of gameplay, none have seen as historically fitted for education as role-playing, simulation puzzle, and our action-based games. As an action plan for integration, an educator must understand the basis of game concept learning in development. It should be handled in three parts: the build, the execution, and the assessment. The build would be the timeline for gameplay for either a developed game or adaptation of an existing game. Teachers need to identify specific learning objectives for each activity of gameplay and develop the method to impart this information. If the player is to understand that where a launched object will land is affected by different factors, the puzzle should be set up where the player will have to affect each one to get the desired effect. Say to make sure a rock lands on the other side of a cliff, the player should use a catapult that lets the player alter direction, force, and angle of the pitch. The player should then be shown the math of the equation as they change and alter elements of the problem, and then be given the correct answer as correct when the problem is solved. The execution is the student participating in the game space as directed and creating content as they learn. During gameplay, the student should be given reflection prompts to create additional content. The assessment is the content created by the student as they play. A key concept for this increased learning reflex retention is self-reflection. This can be attained through downloadable artifacts. A storyline transcript can make the connections between the gameplay and what the student should know. This is done during the execution, as the design should map key points in the game that provide explicit examples of what is being taught. Through a game legend, the teacher should be able to monitor student progress depending on their level in the game. Beyond the game world and created artifacts, the students should articulate what they have discovered through organized group chats and private notes. Games should be set up to record gameplay, and students can create learning highlights and collages for future assignments and artifacts. This will serve to isolate instances and situations that provide the most learning for both the teacher and the student.